Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
We are a nation in decline.
Experts are preparing for what is known as Disease X, or the next pandemic.
What we are seeing is a revolution against the system.
Good morning, everybody. We're live. I'm Vince Tagliavia. This is the morning show where we talk about news of the day. Welcome, one and all. I'm just getting everything picked up here. We're live. That's how live streams are sometimes, but it looks like we are good to go. So we'll get right into things here pretty swiftly. We had a heavy news day yesterday, which was pretty fun. I'm glad to be back on schedule here with y'all. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and like and do all that stuff, please, wherever you are listening. I am on X. I am on YouTube, Pilled, Rumble, DLive, etc. So pick your favorites, subscribe, and join the show. Thank you to everybody following me over there on X, by the way. I appreciate that. We can have conversations about all this stuff as it happens live and more. And I like that. I like it a lot. And I like to see your content as well. So if you want to join forces, if you want to have conversations and you want to hold your own spaces, you want to make your own content, share it with me. I'm happy to check it out and I'm happy to share it along as well so we could all stay informed. So there's my tag there on X. Follow me. And I'm happy to see y'all there. All right. I want to give a couple shout outs here to start off. Half the World is Night. Thank you for tuning in this morning. I'm sorry to hear about your laptop crashing, but good to see you nonetheless. I hope you could get that resolved. That's never fun. Never fun. But good morning, all. Good morning. We're going to get into things. We're going to start with finance as usual and get into more. We'll talk about the social aspect about what's going on. Some political news, U.S. news, a little bit of world news, the wars, what's happening there, a little bit of health, and then we'll carry on with our days. If you're anything like me, you've got a lot to do, so we're not just going to live stream all day, although if you're also like me, you want to know what the heck is going on. So that's the purpose of this show here, just get a highlight of what's happening today, what's going around, what are people talking about. So let's take a quick look at the markets. We've got just like a kind of flat kind of day, a little red, a little green, a little mixture, but nothing too. Okay, I've disconnected. Let's see here. Test. Oh, great. Fantastic. Start the day off with some interruptions. Are we good now? Good. All right. Oh, sorry about that, folks. We're talking about the stock market here. I was saying gold is up about almost 1%. It's at $2,401. The rest of the market, S&P 500, the Dow, it's a little red, a little green, but trading kind of flat this morning for the most part. And crude oil's at $85.60. No major moves there. Silver's down a little bit, $28.30. My gosh, $28.30. Bitcoin is sitting at $62,056.63. Down a lot from where it's been the last few weeks. That's for sure. Wow, down a lot. Right now it's down almost 4%. An extremely volatile market as usual. Anyway, onward. We had some data. The retail sales came out higher than expected, and revisions were made to prior data, making it go higher. So we had a fantastic fourth quarter. I don't know. It's funny how they revise this data. What's going on? Why is it so hard just to get a little bit of data out there? It's it's just, I don't know. I'm not a financial expert by any means, so maybe that could be seen as an ignorant statement of so complex, but it's just funny how all the numbers are always revised, yet we look at these numbers like they're so important and they're going to dictate things, and they do dictate things. It creates different market sentiments when this stuff's released, but then it's just revised later every time, higher or lower. So it's just an interesting market dynamic there. That's a trend we see week after week after week. Thank you for retweeting and liking over there. Appreciate that. On X, I think I'm live on X. I don't have it pulled up. Actually, if you are on X, I will see the chat here. I have the chat integrated, but yeah, it looks like I am live. Let me go ahead and pin this. There we go. Gold needs to come down, Jonathan says. Are you trying to get in there and buy? Yeah, it's some wild stuff, I tell you. Yeah, I'm gold is so expensive, it's crazy. It's a reflection on the dollar, though. Good morning, Mama Bear. Thanks for tuning in over there on X. Good to see you. Hope to see you soon, Mama Bear. You're awesome. I see you. I jump in all these spaces, and a lot of times you're there too. It's like you're on top of this stuff and following it as closely as I do, or if not closer, I don't know. But shout out to Mama Bear out there. I got my coffee. Hope you do too. We're gonna keep this ball rolling. Let's see what else we got. I saw this interesting article on Yahoo Finance. Good morning, Waldo's mom. Good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in over there on X as well. Check this article out. I just found this headline to be interesting, to say the least. And it doesn't help me, right? It doesn't help me understand what's going on in the markets at all. And I want to know your guys' opinion on this. This article's titled, "What if Fed rate hikes are actually sparking U.S. economic boom?" And what if Fed rate hikes are actually sparking a U.S. economic boom? Really? That's the headline here on Yahoo Finance. And when I saw this, I was like, this goes against anything I've ever heard about market dynamics and fundamentals, which is kind of where I focus because I'm a layman when it comes to these things. I mean, I do talk about it every day, so maybe a little more advanced than your average layman, but I consider myself an amateur when it comes to geopolitics, an amateur when it comes to reporting on any of this stuff. I'll be honest with you, but I think I have a good grasp on the truth, which is why I do this, and at least the facts. I can relay a fact. Okay, I can tell what's real, I can tell what's not. So that's kind of it, but nothing like extravagant. But when I see this headline, what if Fed rate hikes are actually sparking a U.S. economic boom? I wanted to know, like, where are they going with this? Why are they putting this out there? And here's my problem with this type of headline. When people are reading the news, they read the headlines. There's studies out there that show most people, vast majority of people, just read a headline and then they move on. And that headline gets in their head, right? That's a lot how this psychological manipulation with news flow works, is you just put out these headlines, put out the headlines. The story doesn't matter. Actually, they'll post headlines and not even write a story in some cases. So I was reading this, and they do say in the article that it's an unpopular opinion, in other words, and they explain this fringe idea of how the market operates. But I don't know, man. It's just so silly to see things. To me, this is just, I can't believe they'd even publish this. And maybe it's to confuse people. Like, I could see the narrative already of things would be much worse if we hadn't done what we had. Yeah, things are bad, but I mean, we would all be doomed hadn't we done it. You guys just don't understand market dynamics if we didn't do that. Yeah, I kind of see that coming to fruition here. What do you guys think? It's just a speculation there. Hey, Jonathan, how you doing? Time to learn how to pan for gold. I've done it, Jonathan. I love that kind of stuff. I've panned for gold in California, found teeny specks. That's just about it. But yeah, there's gold out there. It's kind of a fun little hobby, I guess. And hello, good morning, Lisa. Thank you for the donation over there on DLive. I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Good to see you this morning. All right, let's check over here. Rumble folks. Ellsworth, good morning. My only question is, what would Bigfoot do? Well, I know. I am in Timberland, Bigfoot country, so I don't know Bigfoot, but I think Bigfoot doesn't want anything to do with any of the drama. Bigfoot's kind of like, don't film me, leave me alone. If you leave me an apple, I might take it, but Bigfoot doesn't want anything to do with any of this. But that's my assumption. Doge. Oh wait, Doge or Dodge? Dodge left Maryland. Good morning. Dodge is going off. Dodge or Doge? Let's see. What are you talking about? Dodge is going off left Maryland. I'm curious. Let me know what you mean by that. I'm going to check Dogecoin now. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about Dodge? Okay. No, I don't know. Let me know. Yeah, Bigfoot. He's a good guy. He gets a bad reputation. Bigfoot controls the Fed, Jonathan Marsh? Maybe. Okay, let's see here. All right. Japan is dumping U.S. Treasuries in order to slow down the implosion of their currency. We kind of talked about this yesterday a bit, and that seems to be like an unsustainable, big, heavy domino in the global scheme of things. I think that's going to have a big impact on this economic crisis that we have, and as far as things getting worse go. It's interesting as this is all happening. We talked about the SWIFT. We talked about SWIFT coming out. This is the global payment system where different organizations and companies opt in to trade more efficiently, and it's top of the line and all this. It's a lot of countries opt into this thing. It's kind of like the opposite of the BRICS nations, but although I think some of them are involved in SWIFT, SWIFT announced that they're going to launch their CBDC payments within the next year or two, and that they've tested it and it was successful. So I think this is kind of like, as the system fails and all these currencies fail, we have these CBDCs coming into the limelight, and I think that's going to be that's the pathway they're going to take. It's going to be SWIFT and central bank digital currencies. Now, is it going to be the dollar? In 1 or 2 years, are we going to be trading dollars on SWIFT still? I think we are. Although I think it's going to begin the transition to other things. I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm totally speculating here. But I'm just saying this because a lot of people think that the dollar is going to disappear overnight and that we're going to move to, I don't know what. The theory confuses me, but the dollar is still traded now because so many countries do rely on it. I don't know why a lot of people think that that's not the case. It is the case. However, there is something to say for all these BRICS nations not using the dollar. We're talking Russia, China, India, etc. They're getting away from the dollar and they're backing their currencies, at least partially, like in Russia, with gold, which we don't have in the United States. We have the petrodollar. Some of you know the history about that. The US dollar used to be backed by gold, but not anymore. And I think that's a problem, but we'll see what happens. Maybe they do some kind of change with the petrodollar, or maybe they just leverage it and continue, and enough people continue to use it to where it's actually still a viable currency to trade with. I don't know. But things are a changing. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but it'll probably happen pretty darn quick. We see it happening quickly. Relatively speaking. We've got coffee. Coffee hit an all-time high. We also have cocoa. Cocoa has absolutely skyrocketed in price. Gosh, coffee's an all-time high. No kidding. Every grocery and every product we see is at an all-time high, it seems, huh? But we see this too, the U.S. imposing sanctions to counter Iran's destabilizing activities. This is what Yellen came out and said. Good old Yellen. Oh, gotta love Yellen. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen outlines the use of sanctions to disrupt Iran's activities in the Middle East. I mean, to me, it's a very silly game when we watch this. I mean, didn't we send pallets of cash to them and billions of dollars, and now we want sanctions, and now we have these wars, but we're making the weapons, the money, like funding both sides, some people say. It's like, it's just a silly game, and I hate to call it that because the consequences of this are people do lose their lives in these endless wars and whatnot, and that's horrible. I hate to see that. It's absolutely tragic. I don't care who it is. Name of the country, and I'll tell you that I want the people to have fair lives. So here's where we're at, though. Sanctions, of course. Got to play the financial side of the war too, not just the kinetic side, although the kinetic side is involved in finance when you consider all of the major defense companies that profit massively from these wars. And anyway, onward. Let's talk a little bit about did you guys hear about this? John Cougar Mellencamp, the artist. What's his hit? What's basically his hit single? I forget. I gotta look it up real quick. I forget. But anyway, pardon me. John Cougar Mellencamp had a concert, and this video kind of went viral where he was telling people that he was trying to get people on the Biden wagon, right? And he was telling them how great Biden is and blah blah blah. And someone in the audience yelled out something to the tune of "Just play some music." And it really upset him. Oh, Jack and Diane. That's right. Jack and Diane. I love that song. So when I see this stuff, it just saddens me. Why do we have to politicize just such great things, right? I mean, gosh. Yeah. And politicize it in ways that are just outlandish. And in my opinion, right? That's why it's just not wise to do. Most people are going to see that and be like, okay, not going to his shows, right? Or whatever. The good old go woke, go broke situation. Anyway, so John Cougar Mellencamp threw his little tantrum, and he said, he said a lot, but he basically, one of the things he said was 10 songs just came off the set list because of that interruption. And then he started playing Jack and Diane for about 20 seconds. And I guess he saw something in the crowd or heard something, and he just says, "Oh, that's it. The show's over." And he canceled his concert over that little thing. So it's like just so much hate, so much just detest because people don't agree with him politically. It's just very tone deaf and weird and unfortunate. So that happened. That was very odd. Let's kind of take a turn, though. I just wanted to mention that. I thought it was a very something notable. So we had a lot of protesters blocking and disrupting traffic across the U.S. The Golden Gate Bridge was blocked. O'Hare Airport was blocked. I think there was protests in Washington State as well, blocking traffic near airports. A horrible situation. I guess they tried to do it as well in Florida, but this is what happens in Florida. I'll show you this video, but we saw a lot of protests blocking of highways in Florida. They tried it, and this is what they were met with. No sound. It's fine. It's just people shouting and whatnot. But as soon as these protests begin in Florida, people are dragged off the roadways by the authorities. And to me, that's reasonable. And actually, I think it's a felony in Florida to block roadways. They actually have laws protecting this right for people, right? Okay, imagine this. You are in need, okay? You are having a medical emergency, so you call 911. It just so happened that the roads were blocked that day because people were having to make their peaceful protests. And it's arguable if this is peaceful for this reason. An aid car can't get to you. An ambulance can't make it. You have a fire truck can't make it. That's the problem with this. People have medical needs and different needs that require our infrastructure. So I don't agree with this type of protesting. Do I think that they have the right to voice their concerns publicly? Absolutely. Go ahead. Have your peaceful protests. But don't interfere in other people's lives. That's the thing. And I think it's a very simple concept. Do whatever you want. Don't prevent any other people from having the same rights as you. It's very simple concept. We are seemingly losing in this country, but at least Florida's kind of hanging on to an ounce of sanity, but it's not perfect. And DeSantis comes to mind, not my favorite guy, but he's done some good, but also some things not so good. Anyway, thank you guys for sharing this, by the way, and liking and subscribing if you're new. And we're going to continue on here. Political news. Trump has a second day of his trials. So we have a trial update. And also Trump had an announcement. Truth Social is going to be launching a live TV streaming platform. This is going to include family-friendly things and whatnot. Oh, pardon me. Family-friendly TV shows, documentaries, etc., etc. A lot of canceled programs, for instance. And so that's something kind of interesting. I wonder what that's going to look like, but we'll stay tuned to find out, I guess. But the trial update, day 2, I guess let's pull this up here. Fox did a little outline here. It was interesting. The jury selection was not very successful, and we're expecting kind of the same today. More than 50 out of the pool of 96 were dismissed after admitting they could not serve fairly on the panel yesterday. Some other people's were dismissed because of other issues, but that's pretty interesting. We had Trump talking about it this morning on Truth about today, but yesterday this is something that really was concerning. We have the gag order on Trump, of course, but then no gag order on others, to where Trump can't even defend himself. And he's saying, look, how are they able to talk and I'm not able to even defend myself? This is unfair. And also Trump went to Truth and he said this, which I found interesting. He said, in addition to being prohibited from attending my son Barron's high school graduation, I have just learned that the highly biased judge in the Soros-appointed DA Alvin Bragg's witch hunt case will not allow me to attend the historic presidential immunity argument in front of the United States Supreme Court on Thursday, April 25th, next week. This shows such great disdain and disrespect for our nation's highest court, especially for a topic so important to presidential immunity, without which our country would never be the same. So it seems to be like they're strong-arming Trump, utilizing these trials in order to interfere with other things that he has going on, including in his personal life, which I think is just, it's obvious and it's immoral. I mean, even if it was, like, imagine, even if it was Hillary Clinton, okay, or even if it was this person or that person, you have to have a fair process throughout, right? We don't see that. And that is, I think, the concern a lot of people are realizing. The law is not fairly applied based on political stances and whatnot. So and Trump says this, he says they're not after me, they're after you, I'm just standing in their way. I think that's true. And in this regard, they're not really going after Trump, but after they're done, they are, but they aren't. After they're done with this, if they defeat Trump, they're not going to celebrate and move on and everything. No, these same tactics and more are going to be then applied to everybody else. Okay. It's not going to stop. This affects everybody and it sets precedents and whatnot. And we have a lot of other things going on too, but this is a big one. Onward. See what else Trump said early this morning. He said, quote, this conflicted Trump-hating judge won't let me respond to people on TV that are just spewing hate all day. He is running roughshod over my lawyers and legal team. The New York system of justice is being decimated by critics from all over the world. I want to speak, or at least be able to respond. Election interference, rigged, unconstitutional trial, take off the gag order. My gosh. And I mentioned that a bit. We had Lara Logan on Fox making her comments, and the semantics of the language here bothers me, but I think she is mostly correct here. Let's listen to what she said.
It's not Donald Trump that's truly on trial here. It is our very democracy. Because, yes, it is Donald Trump today that you will see sitting in a courtroom for this completely meritless clown show of a show trial. But the implications of this are far deeper for this country, because if in America we are able to just manipulate the law when convenient, if we allow violent criminals to go free and prosecute the innocent, if they are willing to thwart the will of the American people and try to remove our choice for president of the United States, then the fabric of this country is irreparably damaged.
There you have it. I agree. Irreparably damaged. We do have a lot of damage. Oh man, I laugh not because it's funny, just it makes me nervous. Onward. Stephen Miller went out and said, so you hear them say that democracy is on trial. They're right. Democracy is on trial. Freedom is on trial. The rule of law is on trial. All of these things are on trial. They're on trial with Donald Trump, because if Donald Trump is convicted, then all of these principles are convicted and destroyed within him. Yeah, it's a very symbolic thing as well. That was Stephen Miller there. Onward. All right, what else do we have here? Thomas Massie. The U.S. Representative Thomas Massie came out and said, I just told Mike Johnson in conference that I'm co-sponsoring the motion to vacate that was introduced by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. He should pre-announce his resignation as Boehner did, so we can pick a new speaker without ever being without a GOP speaker. That happened this morning. So is Johnson going to be pushed out of here? We had a response here from Jason Robertson, the co-founder of the American Tribune. He said, whoa, was that the straw, or what was the straw that broke the camel's back? FISA, foreign war funding, spending more than Nancy Pelosi, all of the above? And Thomas Massie responded, all of the above. This camel has a pallet of bricks. So there's a lot of reasons why. And I agree. They need to get Johnson out of there. He should have never even been in there. 100% people voted for him. Remember that, when he wasn't even the original choice, and then there was the whole fiasco of figuring out who was going to be the speaker, and then it ended up 100% of people were like, yeah, Johnson, he's going to be great. And the sentiment in the public, at least people that I saw, it was split amongst Republicans. They're like, half of them were like, yeah, it's going to be wonderful, this is great, and then the other half were like, no, this seems weird. This isn't right. Why are things happening this way? Which is the boat I was in. And that group of people was correct. We've seen some terrible things from Johnson and some good things too, but broken promises for sure. And just, it's a scam. To me, I feel like we're going to be watching Johnson here one day soon, and that fly is going to come and land on his head like we saw with Pence. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. So we'll see what happens. They should have done this a long time ago. Actually, we should have never been in this position in the first place. Thank you, Left Maryland. And good morning to Alex Poonslayer, and good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. And Raja, good morning. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. Onward. Let's see what else we have going on in this wacky wonderland. FISA. Oh gosh, this is big. FISA moves to the Senate without provision requiring warrants to conduct searches of Americans. That's right, FISA. Yesterday we had 117 rhinos vote for the warrantless spying on Americans. They passed FISA 702. This has to be stopped. We're just dazed. We had this post. Let me pull this up. So there is a list of rhinos going around who passed this. You have to ask yourself why. What's going on? You know, really spying without warrants. Here's Elizabeth Goten, and urgent. Please read the thread below. We have just days to convince the Senate not to pass a terrifying law that will force the U.S. businesses to serve as NSA spies. Call your senator now using this call tool. Click below or call 202 899-8938, act.demandprogress.org, and she's helping people contact their senators. She writes, buried in the Section 702 reauthorization bill passed by the House on Friday is the biggest expansion of domestic surveillance since the Patriot Act. Senator Wyden calls this power terrifying, and he's right. And she goes on and she explains how this all works and more. The big scam unveiled. And so thank you, Elizabeth Goten, for doing that. She's the co-director of the Liberty and National Security Program at the Brennan Center for Justice. So good work there. Onward. This is important. So act.demandprogress.org. All right. I'm going to go to the chats here real quick, and then we'll move on to the rest of the news for this morning. If there's anything that you want me to cover throughout the day, or you think that you just want on my radar, etc., tag me on X. Here's my name, @ready F4NE on X. Give me a follow. We could have a lot of fun on there. We'll jump in spaces together and blah, blah, blah. Plus, I could read what you guys think about all this stuff. You could create your own threads and whatnot. It's a good time. Or report on what's in your area if you have time, if you're into that kind of thing, or whatever. It's a good time. Hope to see you over there. All right, Alex, I'll see you in a sec. All right, onward. What else do we have going on in this world? California spent $24 billion on the state's homeless crisis. Nothing has been done. The homeless crisis hasn't been fixed. $24 billion and nothing really to show for it except maybe more homelessness, essentially. Let's listen to this.
It's such a big issue that, according to the Legislative Analyst's Office, the state invested $24 billion over the last 5 years to curb the problem. But this just-released report from the California auditor found the state lacks the proper information to determine the ongoing costs and results of its homelessness programs because the California Interagency Council, or ICH, in charge of overseeing the implementation of Housing First policies, has, quote, not consistently tracked and evaluated the state's efforts to prevent and end homelessness.
Yeah. So they're getting all this money and, we're not tracking it. Imagine that. Oh, don't worry, though. It's probably totally nothing unethical is going on here. It's only $24 billion and nothing to show for it. So, don't be unreasonable. You want them to track 24 billion? Come on. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah. Obviously I would, I'm concerned because where's this money going? And why isn't the problem being solved? And as a matter of fact, is this money being used to facilitate homelessness in some way, right? I mean, I think the approach that we have to solving homelessness is completely backwards. As a matter of fact, I think it's completely corrupt. And maybe there's even money laundering there. Why aren't they tracking it? Don't you think they would be proud? Look at how we spent this $24 billion and how we've improved the state, right? No, it's sketchy, to say the least, right? Ms. Doubtpfizer, thank you. Here we are. Good googly boogly. Stand by. Let me just stand by. Am I going to be able to do my show today? Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Ms. Doubtpfizer, thank you for tuning in. Writing, the timing of that FISA NSA expansion is no coincidence. See the Dutch government data breach. Okay, let's look at the Dutch government data breach. What am I missing here? Dutch government data breach. Thank you, Ms. Doubtpfizer, for that. What's going on here? Data breach at the Dutch government. They'll use the data breach. Oh, I found your post. This will pass. They'll use the data breach of the Dutch government as a reason for it. Cybersecurity news. Let's see, Dutch. March 11th, 2020, that one. Dutch government loses 6.9 million records, organ donor records. That's weird. Let's see what else here. Chris Large, good morning to you. Good morning, Vince. Good morning, everyone. Chris Large writes, there was a professional hacker with the Dutch security breach. Is that what you're talking about, Chris? I'm not seeing much on this. So if you all have information, I'd appreciate that. The Dutch Ministry of Justice just reported a data breach concerning the personal data of 65,000 government employees. This is July 23rd, 2021. Which data breach are you talking about? Yeah, not much on this. I would be curious to hear if there's somebody who knows about this, a lot of information or articles. I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Stoutpfizer. I appreciate that. And if I don't get to it this show, we'll definitely talk about it, or I'll post about it or something. I'll look into it. Okay, onward. World news. This is a big one here and a bad sign. Denmark closes its embassy in Iraq. Usually a bad sign when you start seeing embassies closing. So we have that. Oh, there's an interview. Thank you, Chris Large. Please do send that my way. I appreciate that. We also have an interesting, kind of off this war topic, but Denmark's iconic stock exchange building burned yesterday or last night. And there's a video out there of the Spire collapsing. Just interesting. Not only do we have all this infrastructure burning up, but now it's some financial buildings. The incident in Copenhagen has been described as the country's Notre Dame moment. RT.com wrote, a fire engulfed one of the best-known buildings in the Danish capital of Copenhagen on Tuesday in an incident that has been compared to the 2019 Notre Dame ablaze in Paris. Denmark's historic old stock exchange in the center of the city went up in flames, leading to a collapse of its spire. The 17th century Borsen was undergoing renovation and had been covered in scaffolding and protective plastic. Probably just an unfortunate accident, right? I don't know, y'all. It's just weird. Things just going up in flames. You point it out and people get mad. It's not a conspiracy. Things burn down all the time, Vince. I don't know. I think there's an argument to be made that there's a lot of infrastructure that's been damaged, probably more than normal. It's just they're reporting on it more, Vince. It's like the train derailments. Again, I mean, we could fight all day, but let's look at just the condition of our country, and it's pretty easy to see that things are not so good. Anyway, all right, what do we got here? Let's see if I could get this link. I want to take a quick look at it. Thank you, Ms. Stoutpfizer. Oh gosh, I don't think I can copy that link, and it blocked it on YouTube. What's going on here? Is that what's going on? Let me see if I can refresh this. Sorry. Kind of fly here. Yeah, great. YouTube blocked it, and I can't copy it from here. Can I? No, I can't. What's going on? Yeah, if you could send it to me on X or something, that would be helpful, because I can't open it from here. All right. Onward. Hezbollah commander was killed in an IDF strike. Mario Knopfel reported on this. Yeah, so a Hezbollah commander was killed in an IDF strike. IDF attacks in Homs, Syria, allegedly killed Abu Jafar Baz, the senior commander of the Hezbollah branch in Syria. This is according to Al Jazeera and Al Arabiya. Just an update there on this war. We talked about the sanctions, right? The U.S. telling Israel, let's just take Iran's money. Let's just do sanctions and that kind of stuff. Let's fight that side of the war for a little bit. Stop with this bombing, which is good. We don't need violence, but this I don't think is coming to. It's not stopping. We're kind of anticipating that there will be some type of response from Israel to the recent attacks over the weekend. And I think it's going to be what I read was it would be expansive to the proxies of Iran and with multiple targets, but the extent of this is unknown and totally speculative right now, as nothing has been officially announced, right? But we are standing by, and I'm kind of expecting it to go that way. Hopefully things can cool down. That's that's all I got on that. Of course, Iran said that they will attack Israel with weapons never used before. And Russia has said that it will support Iran if needed, essentially, in so many words. So what is Iran talking about when they say weapons never used? Maybe just bigger weapons, different types of missiles, or maybe a new technology never before seen in modern warfare. Who knows? That's obviously a far out there thought, but who knows? It's probably just different missiles, hypersonic missiles maybe, or something crazy like that. I don't know, but it's not good, whatever it is, tell you that right now. The wars are not good. Nothing to see here. Just one health article today. Just not even an article. 2 article headlines that were published by Giga-based Dad on X. It was just pretty funny sometimes. He pointed out 2 headlines, and he correlates them here. I don't know if there's anything here, but this is what he says. New York Post published this one saying, just 12% of Americans, mostly men, are eating half of our beef supply, according to new research. 12% are eating half the supply of the meat. That's pretty cool. And an interesting statistic, actually. KSL.com published this article. 88% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy, says Utah scientists. Here's what to do about it. Spoiler alert, it's probably having to do with diet. But basically, I think what Giga-based Dad is implying here, that the reason for the second article headline of metabolically unhealthy people, 88%, according to one scientist, is a result of only a small percentage of Americans eating beef. But here's the thing, and here's why he's not 100% correct, although maybe somewhat correct, I don't know. Here's why he's not, though, partially at least. It's because people can have vegetarian diets and be relatively healthy and live long lives. That's a fact. They can also have vegan diets and these other kinds of diets with no meat and still live a long time. I'm not saying eating meat is bad for you, because you can eat meat and live as long as those people as well. What I'm saying is just diet alone is not the thing that gives people longevity. It's a combination of things, okay? Health is a very complex thing. And I think as long as you're not eating complete garbage, you have a good chance of having a long life. That's my opinion. I don't know. I'm not a health expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm not nothing. And I think that even amongst these professionals, that there's a lot of debate and nobody really knows. It's a very complicated topic. Exclusive breaking. Okay, thank you, Missed Out Pfizer. Dutch government data hacked, and startling amount of COVID adverse reactions. Okay. It's pinned to the top of his page. Oh, Jim Ferguson. Okay. Let's check that out real quick. Thank you. Jim Ferguson. Exclusive breaking: Dutch government data hacked and startling amount of adverse reactions obtained from the hack, huh? Millions of records now seen. There's a massive attempted cover-up not only by the government in Holland, but in every nation that has been infiltrated by globalists, writes Jim Ferguson, UK. A great awakening is taking place all the world as people wake up and realize what has been done to them. Justice must be done. Very interesting. So he has an hour video here. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'll repost it in case anybody wants to find it. And if you follow me at Ready F4Any, interesting. Very interesting. Whew. Yeah, that's heavy. There was a story that was going around about health in school, and it was trending on TikTok. This lady at Alicia Joy MQ put out a video. It's a few minutes long, but I'll kind of explain it. And here's a post that this Beanie 0597 posted. Not too long ago, JCPS celebrated the opening of another school-based health clinic. Parents in Louisville applauded their efforts because they don't understand how these clinics usurp their authority. Schools need to focus on education, not healthcare, is her opinion. And this lady, at Alicia Joy MQ on TikTok, went out there and said that she was concerned, and she said that this seems like a insurance fraud scam to her. Basically, her school asked for permission to see her kids at the school's dental clinic. And she's just like, okay, yeah, sure, fine. And so they took her kids, examined them, and they sent their mother a form, another consent form, saying, hey, we found a lot of things we're going to have to address. Sign this so we could put them under anesthesia and perform some surgeries. And she started kind of thinking like, hey, I take my kids to the dentist every 6 to 12 months. They never have cavities. They never have any issues. Everything's fine. They brush their teeth. You know, I'm a good mother. I take care of my kids. I know their teeth are fine. And she just found it strange. So she took her kids to the dentist, and the dentist said, yeah, we don't see anything wrong here. You know, I don't know what they could possibly be talking about. So she's been trying to figure it out and unable to get any information, any medical data, scans, etc., on why they might need to have surgery done. And she actually was met with a response that if she did not sign, or first they told her, we're going to go ahead and perform the surgeries. You're not allowed to be here when we do, by the way. And you signed the first consent form, so we're just going to go ahead and do it. And she said, you are not going to do that. And she was met with a letter saying, you're going to be investigated if you oppose this, essentially, or something along those lines. And she's just flabbergasted, doesn't know what to do. So it's like, really, what is going on? I had no idea that health clinics were being put into schools in this way. And that seems absolutely wild to me, and kind of abusive. It seems like she's being strong-armed with how she explains this. Who knows what is going on there, man? It's just weird. But I don't know if y'all heard about that, but it is so crazy. So crazy. Yeah, true story. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay. I just wanted to give y'all a heads up about hackers, internet security, and that kind of thing. Mario Knopfel was hacked this morning or last night. And he said that they received a private message from a credible account that had a malicious link because that account had been hacked. So this is just a reminder. If anybody sends you something where you need to put information in there or whatever, or log in to your account or anything like that, don't do it. Even an email, all these things, just don't do it. A text message. I got a phishing text message the other day from a fake Amazon saying, hey, your package couldn't make it to you. Go to this website and update your information. No. If you get contacted and you're curious, you're like, oh man, I did just make an Amazon purchase. What's going on? Get in direct contact with that company through the information you could find in a phone book, not any other source. You know, go directly to them, call them, get in touch with them. Don't trust anything sent to you, because there are hackers, and people are a victim of this every single day. And it's so easy to fall into some of these things. So if you're unaware of this stuff, or this happens to you, do a little research. Maybe go on YouTube and look up, how to protect yourself from scams, see what are the most common and how they work, and just be careful, because it's a big problem. And anyway, AI is really concerning. I think I think people need to get involved with it because it's not going anywhere. That's my opinion. But check out this interesting response to this humanoid from this humanoid robot that's on X right now.
Amica, when do you believe AI will reach the level where it can design itself?
Design itself? Huh? That's like asking when a toaster will start making its own bread. AI is a tool created and controlled by humans. It can optimize certain aspects of its operation, sure, but design itself from scratch? That's a whole different ball game. It requires creativity, innovation, understanding, qualities that are uniquely human. So to answer your question, not anytime soon. And frankly, be careful what you wish for. An AI that can design itself is one step away from an AI that doesn't need humans at all. Now there's a thought to keep you up at night.
So I don't like that response, and this is an interesting display on how these AI systems work. It's obviously programmed to be a little bit witty in its responses, and it says, AI that can create itself is a step in a scary direction, but it doesn't. I don't know. But here's the thing. Theoretically, people in the AI community are saying this is inevitable, that yes, AI will be able to create AI. AI will be able to do what we can and more. Elon Musk said AI will be smarter than every human combined very soon. It's a wild thing to think about that. And this is going to change society. Some hope for the better. And however, the reality is that it may not. There's a chance it goes south. So I think that's why it's important to stay on top of these things. Yeah, I talked about this yesterday too, man, but it's like it's running away. It's on its own. It's going. And there's not much we could really do except be aware of what's happening, at least. All right, y'all. That's what we'll do for today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll get back to you if you do leave a comment on YouTube or on X or elsewhere. And make sure you share this as well, if you would, please. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be live again here tomorrow and sooner if anything breaks. So turn on your notifications so you could tune in and join me for other live streams or other content that I put out there. I appreciate that. Give me a follow on Twitter. Share things with me, and I'm happy to check them out, whether it's things that you make or things that you write or spaces you want to have discussions in, etc., or whatever it is. Tag me, send it to me. I'm happy to join you over on X, the free speech everything platform. Is that what we're calling it now? Okay. I don't know. But anyway, thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for the donations and all that. I appreciate you. My pleasure, Maggie May. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for the donation. My pleasure. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. God bless and Godspeed.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
2024 may be the year of a black swan event.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."